Hi everyone and Assalamu alaikum my all viewers and my audience. As you guys know, my name is Ikra LinkedIn Wali. I'm from Karachi, Pakistan. And as you guys know, the interview series is a part of Rahani School Korangi campus, and I do interviews on daily basis and invite in an amazing and special guest on my interview on daily basis. So today I have a very special guest. Her name is Bethany Stone. So today we will talk to her and about her journey. So Assalamu alaikum, ma'am. How are you?
I'm well. How are you doing?
Well, I'm fantastic by the grace of Allah. So can you please introduce yourself to me, please?
Yes. So my name's Bethany Stone. I am a master mindset and life skills coach. I have been an educator for 22, almost 23 years, and I have opened up school. I have sold a school, and now I have transitioned into coaching adults and helping them. Um, I don't believe that there is such a thing as you can't just hire a coach to change your mindset. We are because I'm a educator, I know that kids are developed, their brains are developed by the time that they're 7 years old, and they have all their values and their habits put in place. And so the only thing that you can really do is teach them life skills to make themselves better. And so that's what I do. I teach life skills to change your mindset and to improve your life.
Oh, that's great and fantastic. Like you have a lots of knowledge about education also, and you spend your 23 years in education. That's great. So much lovely to hear it. Hear that. Okay, so I have another question in my mind. Like, can you tell me that are you teaching in a school or you have your own school?
So I had my own school, but I sold my school. And I currently am helping at the school 3 hours, 3 days a week, just so that they can train their teachers and help. So I'm still working with kids and I'm still helping them because really my heart is with the kids. But I think we're all just big kids. I don't think we actually ever grow up. Our bodies get bigger, but I still feel young.
Okay, great. Like you sold your school. Okay, so can you tell me that what kind of subjects are you teaching?
Currently I'm teaching life skills. So I'm teaching organization and patience and persistence and order and time management and self care. I actually just launched a video course on self care, which is self care of your emotional being and self care of your spiritual being, self care of your physical being, your social self care, as well as your intellectual self care. And so I like to teach emotional awareness and helping people realize how to regulate their emotions by using different techniques that we have.
Okay, that's great. Like you are teaching it. That's wonderful. Okay, so I have another question in my mind. Like when you have an school, like so, what was your school name? And I have another question. Like, why did you sold your school?
So the school is called Teton View Montessori. So it's a Montessori school. And I sold my school because I have a son that got sick and I needed to transition to be more home based. And I don't know how to not teach. I am a teacher. Like it just is embedded into my soul. And so because I am a teacher, this is what I'm doing. I'm just teaching a different population, just teaching adults, but it still is teaching. And I just had to transition because family is important and you do what you have to do for family.
Yes, it's right, and I would love to hear that. And I have another question. Like, when you was a teacher in your own school, so what things did you notice to improve in education system?
So I actually helped create a curriculum. So I would write curriculums, and I actually have been speaking and presenting at educational conferences for about 10 years. And I still get asked to speak at educational conferences, and I really love to. So what I specialized in was taking kids that had special needs, whether they were autistic, had Down syndrome, dyslexia, or apraxia, things like that. And I would assess them and I would put them with kids that they would be able to relate to and grow with, not so much age wise. So I could have a child that'd be 8, but he would be developmentally 4. And so I'd put him with the 4-year-olds. And because he was with a similar peer, he was able to develop and to grow so much more because he had the examples to live with. And so I created this curriculum and they thrived. They did so well. And it's all about meeting the child where they're at, meeting them, in every aspect, very holistically, because everyone learns differently. We all learn, whether it is we are visual kinesthetic learners or we're auditory visual. However, we're learning, we all learn differently. And so we have to figure out how that person learns, relate to them, meet them how they learn, and that is how that person will grow. And so that is what I would teach, and that is how I created my curriculum. And what I'm really known for in the Montessori world is helping to adapt curriculum.
Oh, great. And yes, everyone have their own skill and on veterinary skills to do something. Okay, so yes, I have another question, like how much do you believe in practical educations?
I believe in practical education because I think you're asking me like practical education in the fact that you're teaching skills instead of just only
Yes.
math and English. Am I correct on this? Hello? Can you hear me still?
I'll Yes, yes, I can hear you now. Like, I have a question, like, how much do you believe in a practical education? Like, instead of just learning about to do things.
Oh, yes. It's very important. So, because education should be holistic, you need to learn how to do every aspect of life.
Yeah.
You need to learn how to become independent. You need to learn how to be able to do things for yourself and create an intrinsic motivation. And I feel like the education system, I don't know if it's worldwide or just in the US, but the education system is very broken in the sense that we are teaching people to do things for a different reason. We're teaching people to do things because somebody is telling us to do something. And we're ruining the excitement of education and learning. We're ruining that flame that people have within to be able to want to learn. And I feel like because we're ruining that, because we're only trying to teach to this box, it really distinguishes the flame and makes them not want to learn and makes learning not fun. The trick to be able to have a good education is to teach every bit of education. Teach the history, teach the past, get them excited about the future, teach them how to cook, teach them how to care for themselves, teach them math, teach them language, teach them art, teach them everything. There's no limit to what you should teach. And you should teach them what they're interested in as well, because that's just going to fan the flame of education and want to make them learn. You want to create a wanting to learn instead of I need to learn. You want to be able to create that.
Oh yeah, really? Okay, like when you were having on your school, and like as you mentioned that you have like you have in your own school, so can you tell me that how can you manage a team? Because in a school and in any places, everyone have their own thoughts. So how can you deal with them, all of them peoples?
Your classroom or your the classroom or you're the people that you work with or both?
Worked with.
The ones we work with? Okay, so it's I think that respect is the key. I think that a lot of the times, especially if you're working with other women in particular, women like to talk about other women and we like to just make a big mess soup sometimes, and then there's feelings hurt, and then there's chaos. And I think the trick to doing this is to not pull people into your circle. So for example, when I was teaching one year, I had an assistant, and my assistant, she dressed very, very nice. Like she had very expensive clothing and very expensive shoes. Always had very expensive hair done, just very makeup, all the things. And I would go to school and she told me, and she was my assistant. She told me that I looked homely and frumpy. That just and I just was kind of thought it was really rude. It was a rude comment to be like, you just don't look nice, you know? And it
Yeah,
was very rude. And I took it for that whole day. I kind of felt like self conscious about everything I was wearing, self conscious about my hair, self conscious about not putting on makeup, all these things. And then I got to thinking about it. I'm so grateful that I'm not wearing clothing that costs so much money. I'm so grateful because I can now work with children and be on the floor and engage with them and show them how much I love and respect them without worrying about my clothing getting dirty and worrying about my hair or my makeup. And that was more important to me than what this woman was saying about me. And I had to
yeah,
work with her the whole year, but it changed my perspective. And I realized that you don't pull people in. I could have talked to all the other teachers and said, "Oh, this woman is so mean. She's so terrible. Look at all the mean things that she said." And I chose not to do that. I chose not to do that. And instead, I respected her. And by the end of the year, even though there was this rude comment, we ended up becoming friends. There is a, if you think about it, we all kind of have like a bubble around us. And when something bad happens, a lot of the times we want to pull people into our bubble with us and gain allies and just be like, this person did this and this person did this and create more more emotion towards anger. But all that perpetuates is more anger and more
yeah,
frustration. And that's not conducive to peace and to hope. So instead, don't pull people into your bubble. Don't pull people into your circle. Talk to them. And I did tell her that it hurt my feelings. I did tell her that it was not kind. And she realized that what she did wasn't kind. But I didn't pull people in. And later we ended up becoming friends because I didn't pull people in. And you can take something that's not nice and not beautiful, and you can turn it into something beautiful if you let it. And it's very hard to work with people that are making a mess soup, you know? But if you don't add to the mess soup and you don't put in ingredients, things can get better. Just don't add ingredients to a mess soup. That's my advice.
Yes, great. And yes, everyone have a different choices. Like if someone wants to do a good dressing, expensive dressing, and someone
Right.
not, don't wants to do like expensive dressing, but they looks good because you have to make yourself brand. Okay, so and that's great, and that's so lovely to hear. And when you have something messed up between, so yes, you have to talk about it when we talk about something which we heard, so when we clear the topic, so it is so much helpful. And yes, it removes negativity also, so that's great, and it's advice for me also. Okay,
Mhm.
so I have another question, like when this lives and in the world, life goes comes ups and downs are coming in our life, so how do you motivate yourself when your life goes so much down?
I look outside of myself. So I talked a little bit about my 5 self-care buckets that I talked about. Those are literally a secret key to being not overwhelmed and not stressed, because you cannot give from an empty bucket. So when we go through life, we have so many downs, and as human nature, we want to give and give and give, and we want to help as many people. But sometimes when we're helping people and lots of bad things are happening, we have nothing left to give, and we become sad and heavy, and just the world is hard. And when we get to that point, that means that we did not do the things to fill our cups. Because it's just like a well, you can't drink from an empty well and you can't give from an empty well. And it's really important to make sure that you fill your well so that you can continue to give to other people. And when you do that and you look outside of yourself, you don't become sad and you don't become as overwhelmed. So bad things can happen in the world. And I've had hard things happen. My house burned down when I was 16. That was hard. I had lots of difficult things. I had a bad marriage. I had my son getting sick. So there's been lots of heavy, hard things that have happened in my life, but I don't feel sad because I look at it as I grew. And you also have to know that you don't grow unless you're uncomfortable. You don't grow unless things are difficult. So changing your perspective, making sure you're taking care of yourself so that you can help take care of others helps all the heavy times that you have.
Oh, yes, and it's so much sad to hear. And yes, also we learn from mistakes, and we learn from mistakes and then grew up. And it's not our mistakes, it's sometimes the another one mistakes, but we all learn it. Okay, so I have a last question. My interview time is ended. So I have a just last question. Can you give a one beautiful advice to me and my audience also?
The last advice I would give to you is be sure to take care of yourself, just like what we were just talking about. If you take care of yourself, and self care is not something, it's not getting your hair done, it's not getting your nails done, it's not going shopping. I think sometimes we confuse self care with like spending money on ourselves, but that's not self care. Self care is not fun. Self care is not things that you love. Self care is making sure that you are going to be okay for the future. Self care means taking time to meditate. Self care means tracking your emotions. Take care of yourself. And when you can take care of yourself, you can take care of others. And when you change your thoughts today, you will have a more positive tomorrow. So you have to think, what do you want tomorrow to look like? And plan it and think it, and it will happen.
Oh, yes, great advice. And I love this advice. I hope my viewers also notice this advice. And also, I do meditate meditate on daily basis, because when I do meditate, I feel my all days goes good. Okay, so thank you so much for your precious time, and I am so much thankful to you that you give me your precious 19 minute. And thank you, and Allah Hafiz.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.